Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with a Wild Eye review of Mold. Mold is a 2012 horror film, directed by Neil Machino. He also co-wrote the film with Dave Fogerson. This DVD was distributed by Wild Eye Releasing. The cover art is somewhat misleading. The insert, however, is very true to the film. This image right here is what you get with Mold. Mold is set in 1984. In fact, the movie begins with an address to the nation by President Reagan. The war on drugs has reached its peak, so the government has developed a new strain of mold to combat it. Some VIPs, including a congressman and high-ranking military, are invited to the laboratory for a demonstration. Unfortunately, things go wrong, and the mold is released into the air. Sounds a bit familiar, doesn't it? It quickly spreads from person to person, and once infected, they must isolate. Again, sounds familiar. It does seem to affect each person differently, however. One of the infected dies almost immediately. Another lives, but has severe symptoms, to say the least. And one of the people contaminated is not affected at all. Do I have to say it again? Sounds familiar. Now that they are all trapped in the laboratory, members of the group must make their way to another room in the building to retrieve the control substance. This will potentially help to fight off the infection. Of course, it comes with some nasty side effects of its own. One more time now, guys. Say it with me. That sounds familiar. As the survivors continue to fight for their lives, they learn that this whole thing might not have been an accident all along. As a matter of fact, this was all part of the plan. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Mold is awesome. The movie, not the pores. This film was so much fun. Jason has been recommending this one to me for a while now, and I don't know why it took me so long to watch my copy. Once again, like I said last week with Bread and Circus, had I watched this movie earlier, it definitely would have been in my video where I showed some of my favorite Wild Eye releases, because Mold is definitely a new favorite. If I were to do a Wild Eye ranking, this would be high on that list for me. Despite being set in the 80s, the movie is made to feel like an old 50s horror movie. It succeeds in achieving that feel. It also has an 80s, 90s shot-on-video vibe. Not that it was shot on video, it just has that look to it, and I love it. I believe I read that the outside shots were actually filmed on 16mm, so that makes sense. Most of the movie, though, is filmed indoors in the laboratory. It's a claustrophobic style setting. It works. I also read that a lot of the 80s props were taken from the director's grandmother's house. That's cool. The gore effects in Mold are practical, and they're spectacular. It's a slimy, bloody blast. In case I haven't made it clear enough, I loved this movie. Huge shout out to Wild Eye for releasing it. Have you seen Mold? If so, what do you think of it? Comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind, subscribe.